live on YouTube. Here we go. Here we are. Tickety boo. Friday night. It's a little bit beyond our typical start date time. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
yeah.
a significant lag on this.
It's
So
a little bit
oh wait
I
wait
beyond.
wait 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 wait. Shut up. Okay. All right. All right. Yes. So boom. So
Oh,
it looks like Arizona did stop by, and it may have been when we could not see anything, but hey, maybe they did. I
yeah,
don't know. You're gonna
yeah.
have to kind
I've
of double
just,
check that because there was some really sensitive things that we were talking about at one given point in time that I'm not really comfortable with having as being public. I'm just looking up.
yeah. No, I think it did go live and it's on your YouTube, so you have to um put a pause on that until we know what we said. So,
Home.
yeah,
Yes, baby.
so everybody can just hold five for a second for technical difficulties.
Well, I think
Oh
no,
shit.
no, it's the non-tech savvy wenches you are observing this evening who have tried to do things way beyond their skill level. And it's like, we are gonna probably
No,
need some
we're
help.
gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna prove that we can make it work. There's nothing we can't do.
Okay, so our roughshod ramblings test driving was
Yeah.
for 3 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yeah, but we did it. Okay,
We
we did
did
it.
it.
Went
I
live.
know. And it
Yeah, we
looks
did
good so far. Getting this baby off the ground. I'm going to put the extra F in there because I didn't type that, y'all. That was Stone's little thing here.
it.
I am going to put Sharp Shop Daily.
Yeah,
Dawn,
but we
baby. You're part of the
because
group.
because we're still learning how to use it and how to drive the bus. Okay, it's like yeah, and yeah, now we stalled it. So we've jumped back over here and discovered that we did actually go live.
We couldn't see anything. I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with
No,
that. I gotta see it. There's
yeah,
too much weird, you know,
yeah. I
weird
think it could have
weirdness.
been the lag. It could have been a lag time. That's all. That's yeah.
A three and a
Because
half
I
minute
had
lag time. We were well into it. Let's admit it. We were well into that puppy, and we
uh
were back there playing and
yeah,
just getting it
yeah.
on. And it was a good time. We
Oh
always have a
geez.
good time though, yeah.
Oh no. That's we got to check to make sure it's safe for public consumption.
Oh yes, please and thank you. Um,
Oh shit.
so speaking
Oh.
of visitors, we did we did kind of talk about some of the briefly some of the things that you've been experiencing and some things that you know that's high profile things and I don't want I mean you're much more tapped into like the news and all that stuff and I don't trust I just don't because I have too much going on at work and it's just really stressful.
Yeah.
So I avoid that. Believe it or not, I immerse myself in murder mystery.
Oh, me too, mate. I love it. I'm addicted to it, but I've taken a bit of a 2 month break on that.
Dude, I got you covered because I ended up subscribing again to MHZ, which has all of the foreign stuff. So you get like different cultures and different. One of the best things I've ever watched on that, not that this had anything to do with what we're going to talk about, but it's
Yeah.
a. I think it. Pardon my lack of knowledge of German, but it's a De Bestisada. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly, but it means the Undertaker.
Okay.
Yeah, dude looks like he's a 6'2" Jack Black. Hope he's not offended by that, but I don't really care. I mean, I care, but not really. The
Oh,
but I mean, it's a really good show, good plot, good story, and it exposes you to different cultures, ideas of death and the ceremonies, and whether it's accurate or not. Hey, it gets you
oh,
interested and kind
I
of look at
think
it.
I
It's
know the one.
beautiful.
Yes, I think I know the one you're talking about. It is in a
Yes.
different language, and then natives, native tribe people, and they're doing different death ceremonies, and they say it's not about the death, it's about the reincarnation
Or even
into
the
the next.
transition. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if it's the same one, but sounds like
Well, it's from it's Austrian,
yeah,
from Austria.
yeah.
But I watch a lot of French. There's some really good French mysteries, but I've been watching MHC since I've been back to the States in 2014. So anyway, not that it has
Yeah.
anything to do with what we're going to talk about today, other than the mysteries and the,
Oh yeah,
and the
no.
magic that we've been both encountering. So what did you want to approach first? Because we kind of talked about, I mean, and it brought uh, I keep saying I'm not a weepy
Okay.
person, but in the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of fighting some of the stuff. And it was about
Yeah.
the pendulum thing and the dog that,
You want to start off. You want to start off. Get that out. Let's have a look at that.
so my dog is not a big barker. She doesn't bark at people until they come to the door. Right. And most of the time you have to knock. So if I get food, I don't have a doorbell. My big freaking dog, who is, 115 pounds, not to be she's intimidating. When she barks, you know it.
Yeah.
She'll make you jump. And if you come to that door, I've seen people back up and it's like, oh, don't back up too far because I don't want them to fall off the porch.
Yeah.
She doesn't bark unless I have like a food delivery or something. So she's done it a few times when there's nobody there. And this evening it was particularly poignant because today is the 12th, and on the 7th, I got a word, I'll just put it that way, at 4:40 p.m., that I'm going to have a visitor on or before the end of the month. And so that was on the 7th, and today is the
That's right.
12th. So basically, we're talking about a week, right? On or before the end of the month. So don't know where, how, or specifically when, but there was like this feeling of pining. There was a sadness, but the loneliness, all of these feelings, these emotions were supposed to be avoided. And I kind of feel like now it's like avoid these emotions to allow this visitation.
Yeah. It's
Never give
finding
up
that
and never
right
give in.
frequency, finding that right frequency
Yes.
so that, and then when you know you're in that frequency and holding it, and there's no pity party going on because you know what you're doing, you're holding that frequency, you're going to hear that communication. You're going to
Yes.
hear, and it's going to be so clear to you
Eh,
because you're
yep.
not having the psychological trip ups of the connection from the emotional attachment.
Right. Right.
You can still have the emotional chemical response, but without having the emotional trauma alongside of it. You
Right.
know?
It's like watching a movie. So
Yeah,
you can have that experience. Or for me, all right, I was the kid on the roller coasters. I'm either going to be in the very front, on the very back, or I'm not
yeah,
getting on the damn thing because
yeah,
I'm the kid who's doing this,
yeah,
or the
yeah.
adult, however you want to look at it, emotional.
So,
And that to this
if you're
day, I
gonna
still do
die,
that. Hmm?
if you're gonna die, just relax. Just go with that flow. If it's gonna
It's
go off,
not about death. It was about the experience, the exhilaration, and it's that same thing of when you're watching a film and you share that emotional projection, there's a good word for you, and you are sharing that, you're creating that within your own biome and within your own field. But I guess
yeah,
the thing is that it's like when you talking about is like that loneliness, pining, and sadness need to be avoided. The words that came after were never give up, never give in. And I think I actually posted something on Facebook about that. that it's like, really, we cannot. And that ended it. When I started it was 440. When I ended that little writing and the ideas that came in, it was 444. And there's
Yeah.
been a lot of number of synchronicities for me. Someone had told me, I had dinner with them last night, that there were sequentials that were coming out. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Have you looked up? Like, eh. No, they don't look it up. So I got home from our dinner. I pull in the driveway, and it was 10203. I was like, oh my God, look at this. I didn't ask for this. So I had to send a picture. It's like, oh my God, that's so cool. It's like, cool. That's like freaking weird. What are you putting on me? What did you vex me with? Right. But I mean, yeah, you do have to kind of look at that part of it. Wow, something just came in that when we have these different things happen and we don't acknowledge them, it's really important because the dog did bark.
That's right.
And I got up when we took a break because we started about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. And I stood, I'm sitting here waiting because you had gone off to do something. And I'm sitting there, I'm doing something here, and she barked. Oh my, when she barks, it made me jump. It's like you're scared the bejeebas out of me. I want somebody to draw me a picture of a bejeeber, by the way. But I went out there and I looked, and there's nobody there. I live on a fairly busy street. There is nobody there. There are a lot of people usually walking dogs, with their kids, or traffic going by for whatever reason. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking something was there. I had a
Yeah.
visitor. And I think that happening may have been a result of our earlier conversations because
Yeah.
you were talking about the beings that
Yeah.
you've been dialoguing with for a long time.
Yes. Yes. That has been a hell of a ride so far. And now it's like, wow. Well, these guys are going to show themselves. They're going to turn up in everywhere. And there's nothing you can do to them. There's nothing you can do to them. They're not here to harm. They're not here to harm. And it's I had to actually when I saw the video that's recently surfaced out there where a missile hits that UFO, because you haven't identified it, so I don't do this AUP stuff. That's just shit.
UAP.
Yeah, I'm still UFO, and
You and
these
Augie.
they have come in my life and surrounded us. We looked up inside it. It got so low to us. And if you go back through any of my videos with any shows I've done about these beings, you'll see we stood so close underneath it that if we'd had a broom handle, we would have touched it. It came down between the house and the garage, so low over our heads, and we could see up inside it. And it was a like a sack over the top of it. The orange plasma spheres would come down and go inside it, and they would dim out. You wouldn't see them. You wouldn't even know that they were there from seeing an orange orb flying across and then nothing. That missile hit one of those sacks. And these, they're not sacks, they're living entities, all right, who know how to use that energy. Where did the missile end up going? Where did it blow up at the end? Into the sea? um, those things that came out the end of it, the three or so spheres, look at them because they're all the same size. And I never got to see the whole lot of the footage, so I'm not sure if they regrouped and went back into that the main sac, the main sphere, and then went off. Right? But I know that they have come inside my house and they morphed into two humanoids. They were able to morph, separate from a ball into a humanoid, separate, then morph back into one, and then take on features that were familiar to me. Okay, and that communication has never stopped. I've spent since that happened, and we're going back in the early, what was it, 2010, 2012, somewhere around there. I have to go back to my very first documents about it and stuff, but I know someone who does have a record of these things. When I first reached out to somebody to talk to, it was Suzanne Hanson from MUFON here in New Zealand. So, yeah. So we do have a record of when I first started encountering these beings face to face.
Yeah.
Right, in my
As it were, right?
garden. So I'm excited, but I'm also very disappointed because I feel like I've said it so many times out there. Show yourself. Let the whole world see you. Let them know you. Show them who you are. And they have been for years showing up and more, showing up. I did 2 trips in the truck, loading, unloading, driving. This is like haulage.
Yeah.
And I had my one follow me all the way from one location to the next location and follow me back. And on the last trip when I was like, oh geez, I should pull over by now, slap in the face to stay awake. Not enough coffee to keep that one going, but we made it. There was a voice, and every time I got focused, there was that orange orb, and I just followed it and I pulled up, and it's like I do definitely feel that they are always around. And when because I've had so many different types of experiences, when I just think about these guys, I know that there is that communication. That's the channel. It's opened up. If you have had an experience with any of these ETs, off-worlders, dimensional beings, you will find that just to think about them, they show up. Right? The more they show up, the more you think about them. And the more you do that, the more you realize you've actually got a channel going on between you.
Yeah.
Then you can't shut them up. They're always there. So
So, so yeah, and I mean, I agree with that. And I think you made a point that's really critically important is that for years you've been asking them to show themselves. Here's the critical aspect to
ah,
that. They're not going to expose themselves to anybody or anything. They're wise enough and developed enough, for lack of better way of putting it, to expose themselves really beyond their ability to manage.
yeah,
So that in and of itself is an honorable thing, but based on what we're being shown in the public, is a
yeah,
problem because clearly we are a danger, we are a hazard or a potential hazard to those, and it's not so much what they're telling the public is very fear based. So this
yeah,
is to get the masses who are not in line with some of these things that were being exposed. And that's what this is about. This is about exposure. So, you want exposure? This is it. When you're looking at that, you need to develop, God, what have I been saying in the last couple of years? Frickin' discernment. This is something that you have to let go of your paradigms. It's scary as all get out to do that. It's really
mhm,
uncomfortable. Trust me to
yeah,
to have something, have your what you consider to be something that was stable is no longer your footing. It's
yeah,
gone. Guess
yeah,
what? Get used to it. Learn to frickin' levitate if you have to. Whatever you got to do to make yourself feel not necessarily comfortable, because you want to make sure that you're going to stay safe. But the other aspect is too is that the desire to have things quote unquote exposed and what you've been asking for is huge. Everybody who is not in alignment with a desire for true truth And I know,
Yeah.
is it like, whose truth is it? You know, okay, see ya. You know, if you're not going to be open to somebody else's, idea of what's going on as far as what is being exposed, this ultimately, I don't care what topic you're talking about, whether it's orbs, politics, whatever it is, whatever this trafficking stuff that people are saying. I I
Yeah.
I went down. I'm not gonna say what I went down day job and talking to some dude, and he's telling me, it's like, oh my god, did you hear about the trafficking? And it's like, dude, I've been watching this stuff that'll make you, er, you know, you don't want to watch the stuff I've been watching over the last several years, like 5 years. It will curl your hair. No, you won't have any hair. But with the stuff that I've looked at, as part of my trauma processing is dealing with all the people's stuff.
Yeah.
But this is part of that awareness. I'm not going to use the word awakening. It's an awareness, and it doesn't happen all at once. You might think it is, but you are slowly climbing that little ladder and expanding, that this is what's going to be happening, and this is my new world, and that's why everything feels so freaking weird. Things
Yeah.
feel weird right now. I don't know about, I've asked colleagues that at work that they're like, yeah, things feel really kind of weird right now. It's like, really? Tell me, do. Because a lot of these people feel like, and I have to count myself in on that. Am I really aware of what I need to be aware of? Somebody tells me, oh, you need to be wary of this. You and I have had conversations about that. Deb, you need to be aware of blah, 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 blah. Be careful. I had dinner with somebody last night. My friend's telling me, you need to be careful. I don't want you to get hurt. It's like, I think you're freaking nuts. And it's like, that's okay. I'm willing to take calculated risks. And
Yeah.
that's what this is about. And making yourself aware, feeling that little bit of discomfort, that's part of it. And they, put the tag on it, are going to show up.
Oh yeah.
Stone, they've been showing up for you for years. There are people
Uh,
they're gonna need adult diapers because they aren't gonna necessarily be ready for what's gonna show up in their life.
yeah. Well, these beings, they took on a familiar face. And I've had to analyze, why did they use that? Why did they do that? I mean, that is what broke me out of my, oh my God, I went from being in a calm state to like, this is the experience. This is it's happening now. Stay calm, stay calm. To, oh shit, my friend's been hit and this is their ghost. And so it's like, I know that the beings didn't intend for that reaction to take place, because there was no reason other than that. There was a good face, it was a good happy place for me. It was a happy place for me to be. And so for them to use it, were they using it in a deceptive sense? Why had to go through all of the different ups and downs. Why did they do what they did? What was the message that they gave me? Because for a long time it was just the physical experience that took place. It
Yep.
was just the holy shit, they look like flame people. I'm going to catch on fire. This is coming from somebody who woke up to a ghost calling my name, to finding flame all the way around my bed and walls, to running over and yeah, that's another story. To see, to see these beings standing there, and their ability to be able to morph and change shape and be able to go through walls and all of this, and then how they move, and they could read my thoughts. They knew my thoughts before I had them. um they knew when we had seen them, when we had recognized they were in the distance, because I didn't do this alone. I was doing it with my partner. My children were aware of these beings. Friends that we had back up there in Auckland, we would have a bonfire, well, not a bonfire, just a fire, a
Yeah.
fire.
Yep,
We'd
yep,
sit
yep.
around that fire and we'd just talk shit, we'd just let it all out. And when we did that, these things would come in and hover and look and move down and around and off they'd go again. We've
Yeah.
seen them change colors. We've seen them, go incognito. And we even chased them on foot one day to the point where we couldn't go any further and we ran all the way back home, got the vehicle and went hunting, but we lost them. So we devised a plan and we went and sat on the hill and we overwatched the park on Guy Fawkes and sure enough they came in. They love it. They love they can come in and move around people and people don't even their attention is not there. It's the goldfish theory.
Yep. Yep.
And we've seen them do that. We sat in the vehicle and we watched them do it. We could see them doing it from the top of the hill of the park, moving in amongst people. So we drove there to see if we could like get up right close. This is before they came and hovered over the top of our heads. So we felt, I felt, I can't speak on their behalf because they're not here, but I felt from that experience just for them to come in that close, right, hover above our head, show us how they come together and dim the light out and change their lights and then to be able to morph. I feel that's pretty, that's fucking awesome actually. And now you've got them coming in and being sighted. The government's known about this. If I can see them just by stepping outside there, then and with all the satellites and stuff that we've got, there's no excuses. This information should be out there. People are seeing those things. The government is running scared because they don't know what to do about them. They don't have the technology to be able to defend themselves against these things. They don't know what their capabilities are. And as far as I'm concerned, we shot first. So whatever comes now, but these beings were also warned. They've been here throughout history. Just have a look at some of the old paintings and stuff. I'm putting together, a timeline and stuff that these orbs have revealed themselves and how they came into play because it's huge. It's 20 years worth of stuff, 20 years worth of, materials, photos, videos, recordings.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
shit.
Yep. I mean,
So
yep, go ahead.
yeah. But the intel, I mean, today's messages that came in were reminders. Reminders. What's a reminder? Breaking it down. Reminders. Okay. So yeah. So now yeah. So anyway, then we move on to frequency recognition. So we start recognizing these reminders. We start stepping into the minders. We are now the minders. And then we're going into work better under pressure. We have no time left. We've got to be boots on the ground. We're going to be working under pressure. We have to adapt. If you need to get truthful with yourself, you need to do it now.
Yeah.
And then the next one I got was new downloads coming in. This is another level. This is another level of the downloads that we've been receiving for the past since 2012. That was a big year for a lot of people. They started getting hits with, okay, thank you. They started getting hits with downloads and it hasn't stopped. This is going to take it to the next level. I'm not sure where it's coming from just at this point in time, but I know there are a lot of influences kicking in. Okay, then the next one was make sure it resonates with your best interests. So when you've stepped into your truth, your honest truth with you, you can't lie to yourself anymore. It's going to be revealed if you do. So when you get that frequency going, other entities are going to come in and they're going to reveal themselves that much more to you. We've never been alone. I personally have never been alone. So if I have these amount of annoyances around me, then I hope you do too. Um, so the resonation is what are you looking for as long as it's in your best interests, okay? If you don't have a roof over your head, put some focus on that. If you don't have food in your belly, put some focus on that. Take care of yourself. We need our basic needs. We need to be able to adapt. And then the next one was the live orbs. So back to the orbs. So these are the things that showed themselves this morning. And here's one for you. Yesterday, they had me writing. I've written it out, and then I've written it out on the computer so I can share my findings. But they started making me do the keys, the codes, the navigation, the orbs, the boxes, the spheres. And it started with not forgiving. So I got not forgiving, energy attachments, allowing self to see past the emotional connection of those attachments, allowing the self confession, allowing the leap of faith by knowing you could lose everything that you have, that you hold dear to you, that is your life. Okay, so that was the once again, stepping into that higher frequency of your truth. So then I'll go back over here. So it was under orbs, there was orbs, activation, and sun. Under boxes, nothing's turned up yet. Under keys, I got unlocking, accessing, take a leaf out of your own book. So that's, oh, okay. And then under navigation, it was focus, apply, communication, alignment. I thought that was quite interesting. Now it's starting to make sense. Now there's sentences that are sort of coming together. So under key keeper, which was one of the personas back in the day, remember, channel channel fail safe. Truth, self-awareness means abilities, know thyself. So that's what I got on that thus far. I also undertook a frequency thing that took place, experience that took place last week, which has still been with me this week, and that was the sphere of light and the psychic surgery. It's like I was called up to do a task. I've gone back through every little step of it, and there's no face. I am not allowed to see the face of who it was.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't know who it was, but I found myself there, and I found myself remembering, okay, looking into the frequency of that black goo. It really didn't like this light energy. It really didn't. So I found that interesting. And then after I'd finished writing it up, I started getting a lot of stuff going across my desk in regards to black goo. So yeah. But anyway, that's what I got from that. There is a big write-up I've done about some of the stuff, but so it's been an interesting week. It has definitely been interesting. We've got navigational access. We've got night terrors. They, how these beings are entering, hijacking us via dimensionals. We are the dimensionals. So they can get in and they can go through us as the portal to these dimensions and take out information. They can go into the future, they can go into the past to change things, all of this. But once we become aware of them around us and what they're actually doing and how they're using our energies, we can take it back. So this is also pulling me back towards the chalice, the Holy Grail. It has everything in it, the medicine cup. Anyway, what do
Um,
you get?
so one of the things, just kind of cycling back to what you were talking about earlier, was about showing up when we're ready. And a lot of that is not just, I know people talk about resonance and things like that, but really, kind of to me, it's like an alignment, and that is kind of part of what I think a lot of us are really not cognizant of. We're not really kind of tapping into that. Personal note is that I had some really heavy medical issues turn up that I've had to kind of address, and I've never had any problem. I don't take any medication. But the whole thing was is that when I start getting some kind of like scary symptoms, I address them. And I have an incredibly good doctor who has gotten me off of prescription medications. And so for me, this was like paying attention to those somatic symptoms.
Yeah,
Those things
yeah.
that you feel within your body are going to be really key at this point. Not losing, for kind of a hippie term, but don't lose your cool over it. Making sure that you're going to be tapped into what's going to keep you safe, irrespective of that. I mean, it was scary as all freaking get out. I mean, I was having like heart attack symptoms that it's
Oh,
like,
geez,
how
okay.
did this come from? This is not this is, and you can deny it for so long, but you have to kind of address that. And I trust my doctor implicitly. He's kind of a fun guy because not a mushroom, not a fun guy. He's a funny guy because I told him, I said, like, I want to live for 60 years. And he goes, well, I don't. I said, well, then, I'm going to outlive you. I'll come to your funeral. And he told me I was going to
Whoa,
dance on his
whoa, wait,
grave. I was going to dance on his
wait.
grave. It's like,
We're
dude.
having, we're having a storm here. I'll be right back. We're getting shaken around.
Okay. Okay. Just pause it. Yep. So I got a couple of minutes here. So I guess the thing is that don't ignore these symptoms that we're having. Don't ignore some of the things that we're experiencing. It's really really important, um, because things are going to start getting ramped up. So don't be afraid of the things that we're going to be having thrust into our awareness, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, because it's really gonna hit us full force in the face. um, One of the symptoms that I was having was it was most prevalent when I first woke up. So I would put my feet on the ground saying, is there anything that I need to do that would help me through this? That the doc had given me. And once that was addressed, then it was like, okay, well, examining what that was. What was it that was happening possibly on some other area of my thought process, whether it was a dreamscape, astral, travel, whatever moniker you want to put on it. It's irrelevant. It's whatever is going to resonate. Like what I mentioned before is like whatever is going to resonate, and then you're ready to hear. Just like with what Stone's been going through, she's been ready to hear from these individuals or these beings, if you will, for a very, very, very long time. And paying attention to synchronicity. So now we have some very educated, learned people talking about signs and synchronicities. And we're talking about an academic world. And that's kind of unprecedented at this point. I think Carl Jung, he was a big part of opening that up. But one of the things that personally has shown up is 9/11. What do we have? 11th of September for us was yesterday. Today's the 12th. I have seen that within the past 12 hours 3 times. So I had to go in and look at what does 9/11 mean, and I think that there are events that are planned around that can kind of usurp it. It can take over what it is that is most prevalent, and it will get us to ignore it. So even for me, being a little more aware of the potentiality of what that meant for the numbers 911, that has a totally different meaning for me because of that. That's like a kind of a big deal. That's a big deal for me. Um, And maybe that's a part of why this is a, you mentioned two stone, a leaf out of your, take a leaf out of your own book was one of the things you got.
Yeah.
So for me, if you look, I gotta switch my camera thingy around because I gotta get, God, I got too many, I got too many windows open. I'm gonna like close all.
I think we just had a mini tornado. It blew the lid off and the kennel down the road, and
Uh-oh.
but
Well,
everything's back to
good.
normal.
That, well, whatever that means. I talked to somebody about normal today. We can get on that topic in a hot second. But it was about you said about taking the leaf out of your own book,
Yep.
right? So if you look at that painting behind me, it was done by Tanya Henderson. She's a local artist. Well, she's like an hour and a half from me. And she's got an amazing talent where she will go in and kind of pull out what it is that is she sees you as in an esoteric fashion.
Yep.
So it almost looks like a pomegranate. And one of the regressions I had, guess what I came up with like a couple of years before that? It was that frickin' pomegranate. But there are heart, you can't really see them, but there are like little red hearts that she goes, oh yeah, they are hearts. So a lot of times she doesn't even realize what she's painting. But what the cool thing is what you can't really see it because I have all my pyramids kind of in the way. There's a book there
Yep.
that
Yep.
she did. She goes, "Oh, it's a buck." You feel, you're like right in the middle. So this was a couple of 3 years ago. You're right in the middle of this, and this is in the heat of the moment rendition of where you are in that given point in time in your life. So you could go to her, if you saw her in the morning, you go to her in the afternoon, you're going to get a different portrait. You're going to go to it. So I've been several years, and it would be really cool to go visit her again. She's extremely talented. But I guess the idea is taking the page out of my own book and figuring that out.
Yep.
What's going to be relevant for us and what's going to be, people use the term resonant, but it's almost like, what are you ready to accept?
Yeah.
I don't know if that kind of, because we can have something that we feel good about, and it's not necessarily a good thing. Things can resonate with us, and it's like we
Yeah.
want to go to the neighbor. We don't want to do that. That's not good. They wouldn't see you for a few years. So, right?
Yeah.
So let's not
No,
always do what
always.
resonates with us, but let's kind of put up and figure out what is really going to be best. That's the what's going to be, what is it? It's not in our best interest. It's how do I word it? I have it written over here. For our highest good.
Yeah.
For our highest good. And
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of our best interest. But we were kind of talking about when we started this about showing up and being ready, what
Yeah.
aligns with us, and not missing out on paying attention to the feelings that we have. Because I think Selena and I had talked not too long ago about how we would wake up and I would put my alarm would go off and I put my feet on the ground uh, on the floor, and I went, oh my God, I feel like it's a really weird sensation. I feel like I'd been with someone. I feel like I
Yeah.
had, and it was like this really calm, sedate. And it's like, something's
Mm.
wrong with me. I feel really calm because we get used to that. We get used to that wound up chaos. And it's like, nope,
Yeah.
I have to enjoy this. I have to appreciate this because I don't want to be in that heightened state. And because that's what causes, I mean, you're on your way to like borderline personality, bipolar, where you enjoy it. Seriously, they enjoy
I'm
it.
already there, mate. I'm
Nah,
already.
you're not. You're not.
Oh, no, I've got legal documents that say that yes, I am. You know, I'm happy to have them. Because together I'm never alone. You know, together I'm never alone. There's always a
Yeah.
party going on. There's always conversation happening. So yeah, what did you do today? Well, I flew over a pyramid and I had some fish try to jump up out of the water and get me. Oh, so what did you do? I went through somebody's wall and I looked through somebody's eyes. You know, when you really start pulling yourself together, right? You have so many amazing journeys that you've gone on, and it just you can look through every one of them and you can either stay in a stuck state of pity me, or go, well, thank you for the experience. I'm moving on now. I've got to take back my life. I've got to take back my energy. I can't have everybody out there, feeding off me anymore because it's just going to keep killing me. I look back at all the different medical histories and I can see what it's connected to, and it's just parasitical entity feeding. So when you identify with where the chaos is coming from, where the chaotic mind states are, is your house upside down? Is your paperwork in order? All of this sort of stuff when it comes down to self-discipline, self-awareness, awareness of I now basically live with what I call risk assessment. Which is every action that I go to take, I've got to make sure that I'm not going to slip over on the floor, or someone's not going to be standing behind me, or, just little things that could turn out to be accidents, incidences. Um, the work that I've done over the years, I've worked with people and myself with Tourette's and OCD, and bipolar and DID and all these other ones because I have experienced these myself. I have, and to be able to turn around and say, not that all their symptoms are not covered. These are every single person that I've ever met I will fit into some category or another. These are areas that show me how fast their frequency pickup is, how fast their receiver and their sending messages are. That to me was a code. I was able to see people and go, oh, wow, look, I can recognize that frequency that fast. And then go, well, I can communicate with that person now. You take 5 minutes and actually sit down and talk to somebody who has these side effects, these ripple effects. Their frequency is faster or slower or different key. I'm really enjoying this space that we're in now, and to be able to actually recognize those forces out there, those departments out there that are trying to take away what we can have here it's transparency time, and they are being revealed. All of the crisis actors are going to be revealed. All the staged performances are going to be revealed. There's the big one that's going on right now. I'm watching so much guff, and that's it's a nice terminology for it. That should this thing in space, what I'm calling a space turd, turn out to be a real you know, I mean, I'm
Thing.
I'm looking at it. If it's going through space at that speed, there's going to have to be some sort of drag that comes up behind it. Is this the first of many that's coming if it turns out to be a rock? If it turns out to be beings, they would be letting us know by now that there is life on board. There's all these questions that are floating around out there, and I'm loving watching people jump on the bandwagon here and there. And at the end of the day, there is nobody that knows exactly what it is, and you gotta stay sane on this. You gotta stay aware of all the other projects there's military deployments all over the place.
Huh.
There's national, what do we call it? Over here I think it's called NEMA or SEMA, and it's your version of FEMA. They're all over the place. They're being deployed everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
think I
I'm
think FEMA's
really waiting.
on a blacklist at this point over here. They've failed miserably. I don't know if they even have funding here. It's been kind of rough in that respect. I think that what you were talking about, that there, and me being the anal individual that I am, and I like to kind of figure out what's going on, and I just need to know. I need to be
Yeah.
prepared. It's not something like, I need to know specifically to satisfy some salacious thing within me. No, I want to be prepared for
Mm,
what's coming next. So
yeah.
please let me know in whatever means or fashion that's appropriate for me to accept it, that I will be able to figure this out. So I still see that there's some sort of visitation. It
Yeah.
feels like it's going to be unexpected. I don't know if it's going to be a knock. I don't know if it's going to be somewhat close to home. This is going to be different for everybody, but it also feels like, we are, for you, it's going to be uh, um, coming up to spring, but for us it's going to be the fall. So since I kind of feel like that it's fall, there's going to be a shift in a lifestyle. There's going to be secrets that are going to be still held. We would like everything to
Oh,
be
yeah.
exposed, but there's also this leveling of timeliness, and it's going to be different for everybody. And it's there. You have to be ready for it. And you have to be open for it. You have to be aligned with it. You have to be willing to get out of the closet in order to see the secrets. You have to get into the closet to see the secrets.
Yeah.
And so what this is going to create a whole different dynamic for you and in your life and in my life too, because I see that there's going to be a lot of jealousy. I feel like that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be envious. There's going to be pettiness. There's going to be like attention seeking, and maybe people like talking behind your back. Dude, I experience that now. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I can't even get out of the freaking office. I'm walking out to go like a last minute appointment. I gotta go in a really bad neighborhood. And I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? It's like, I'm great. I have to leave now. I have to have my head in a really good space because I'm gonna go in a dangerous part of town and I gotta
Yeah.
have my game on. I can, this is no joke. People talk about, and I joke too about it. I wear flat shoes so I can frickin' run. That's not a
Yeah.
I mean, we laugh about it, but that's no freaking joke. I
Yeah.
do. I wore some good shoes today, but I can still run in those puppies. I guess the point is that when those people come up and they start talking about some of these things, it's like, dude, just stay in your lane. Just stay
Yeah.
in your lane, make your life work. Don't give a shit and take petty, like, oh, they shouldn't have done it. I agree. They could have handled it better. Stay
Yeah.
in your lane. Stay in your lane. Figure out what works for you. Work out the resonance. Bypass all the jealousy stuff, all the pettiness, because this is something that's very heavy and what a lot of us are dealing with right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you could visualize something physical, I'd probably have like a backpack. I would probably be on the floor with it. Because there's a lot. There's just
Well, it's time to
I don't
unpack
I
it.
don't I don't I don't and I can't share even with you, Stone. There are things that I cannot share with what people tell me that is horrifically
Yeah.
crushing because
Yeah.
of the population now that I'm dealing with. Um, and that's the date 9 to 5 thing. So when you step
Yeah.
outside of that, you got to realize that this is something that whatever you're experiencing, somebody else is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's worse. I'm not going to say it's better.
Yeah.
It's different. And whatever their level of, lifting that mental muscle, you know, 20 pounds might be great and easy, but for that person who can barely lift a pound and you go, oh, they're a pain in the ass. No, they aren't strong enough to manage, just like with the revelation of what's coming. They
Yeah.
aren't strong enough to lift that mental muscle to manage what's coming in and realizing it's not just realizing about the orbs, about the beings, about anything else that they're going to consider as woo. This is about aligning with who and what you are and why you're here. I mean, it's just like really multifaceted. You can go in. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that drawing of the spikes and the spokes and the
Mm.
lines that you did. And you said,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah.
look. Oh,
Yeah.
holy cannoli. Look at that." Oh, you didn't say holy cannoli. That's my word. But you held it up and you're going, "Oh my God, look at this." So that's kind of the idea of it. You have to be ready for it. And the more open you are, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah.
The more
I
open you.
just
Hmm?
just recently, just like in the last 3 months, what we've gone through, and we've discussed this, is what I've put down as a leap of faith. We've had to allow ourselves to go into a higher self persona when dealing with some of the stuff that's been coming our way. And it's like, how would my old version have dealt with that? And what was the outcome? So now I've got this opportunity to not be so attached to the situation, to whatever it is that's coming forward, and listen to it as an observer. Listen to it as not being emotionally attached. Somebody else has had an experience and they're having issues with this experience. It's got nothing to do with you, even if it was while with you. It's like if it's a friend, if it's a relationship, it doesn't matter what relationship it is. If you allow yourself a higher position, a higher role, to say, okay, I'm not going to continue or enable this conversation any longer. I'm going to just be observing and allow them to do the talking, get it out of their system and see where it's coming from. There's going to be where I am at is just when you see the frequencies going on around you, it's it comes across in a different tune. You can tell whether like abandonment has a tune. Um, all of
I
the traumas.
unfortunately know the
Yeah,
abandonment tune all
yeah,
too well. I think most of
yeah.
us have
I think
experienced.
every one of us
Or
has a level of all of them
yes,
because one, we don't know where we originated from. Right? We all look for, we're programmed and we're trained to appreciate our caregivers. We're trained to respect. I was raised to be seen and not heard.
hmm,
Jump. Don't ask how high, just jump. These are the things. Now we're going back into respecting ourselves,
yeah,
respecting where we come from, knowing
yeah.
what's important to us. And at the end of the day, they turn out to be really, really small things, but they hold some absolute massive weight and some massive power behind them. With all the revelations that are coming in, the downloads are going to get faster. They're going to be clearer. They're going to be louder. We're going to have to differentiate between what I'm calling the synthetics, which are the AI voices, the voice to skull, the all of those tronics, um, smart devices, that they can see everything about us. And the experiences I've had with these orange sphere beings, I used to call them plasma, now they're luminous. Um, I could see they were watching us, they were studying us, they were studying the way we think. They couldn't figure out how we came to the conclusions through our thought processes. Um, they've studied us for years, so it's like we've been studying ourselves for years. Now we've got to step out of that old self. We're coming out of that cocoon, and we're about to spread our wings. We're about to absolutely morph into another mindset, into another dimension. And we have to be ready. We are ready, and it's happening. Good luck. Yeah.
Well,
You said,
you talked about the gifts of the amazing, and the thing is things are going to get louder and it's going to get clearer. Here's where I feel like the distortion comes in, and when we're I think when we're not really connected in a healthy way to what's going on, working in the business that I work in, I know people that are very much connected to things that are not necessarily the most healthy, irrespective of their heart and their focus as they believe they are. These individuals can sometimes be really more tuned into um, the artificial, the AI, the things that, and you have to have the discernment. There's that word again. There's the D word, that they have to have that discernment, that they're going to be able to pick up on that. They're going to have the discernment to be able to tell the difference between something that's organic and something that's artificial. It's just really, really hard to appreciate the gifts that we have of the amazing adventure that all of us are on. And that's kind of how I feel like about this amazing, it is, it's just a freaking amazing adventure. If you don't like the dang roller coaster ride, get used to it. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable,
mm,
because we're in for it. And people call me that, tell me that it's like I worry about, I was telling you earlier, they worry about me because I do these, I don't think they're crazy things. I think they're just kind of silly, because I get freaking bored. I gotta be busy with things. Can't
yeah,
just sit. So I have to do things that are gonna be healthy, and finding those things for each one of us that's gonna be that thing for us. And it doesn't mean you have to work. It doesn't mean you have to do something that's gonna help somebody. That came close to burnout again. Somebody, I have an awesome friend that told me, like, you need to cut these other people off because you're stretching yourself really thin again. And she can tell. She can you know work with her long enough that she can tell that you got to back off. So
yeah,
I did this morning, and hopefully things will get better over the weekend. But we'll see. I'm still making those dang appointments, y'all, um, for people
yeah,
on the weekend. But this is pleasure. This is energizing. This is pleasure for me to do the YouTube stuff. The stuff I do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Oh, it's like freaking soul sucking.
oh yeah,
It takes a lot out of you. Okay, you have to be on your game and you have to play by their rules. So it's a completely different game. You don't get to write your own book on that. So yeah, do what you got to do to keep yourself safe. Make your own adventure, because we're all going to get whatever it is
yeah,
from whoever and whatever it is. It's going to come in clearer and louder. Just make sure
yeah,
it's legit,
yeah,
because it may not
yeah,
be.
yeah. That's everything you said basically took me back to the not forgiving, not forgiving, energy attachment, seeing where it comes from, seeing what you've created, allowing yourself to let that go, to go step forward. This week's been I've watched a lot of really, really good people get taken out.
Mm-hmm.
This, and that's when you constantly see good people doing things that they feel is absolutely security for their families and friends around them, and they never gave up,
Mm-hmm.
and times got hard, and then to see
Yep.
them get taken out right there, it's like,
Yep.
what was that all for? What was it all for?
Yep.
And the first thought is, I hope that they are at peace. I hope they find their peace, and I hope it was worth it for them.
Hmm.
All you can really, really do is, I mean, that was a reminder. This was this week. This was a reminder of just how precious our lives really are. The time that we have here is really precious. And we forget that, tomorrow anything can happen. Anything
Yes.
can happen.
Yes.
um, we've got these beings when they're going to show up in mass, and I believe that they will.
Hmm.
I just haven't worked out what date yet, so I'm hoping they give me the date and the time and
Well,
arrive on my doorstep, and I can go live, and I can say,
hey, and here's the thing, that goes back. I've seen people post videos on YouTube and say, "Oh my God, can you see the fairies?" And the photographers going, what are you talking about?" And people that will watch those videos will say, "Oh my God, look at the fairies." So it's really about, I don't know. I mean, you can get into the psychology of that and say it's
yeah,
the the part of the suggestion. I feel like it goes back to the energetic alignment. So for me, it's like I go out quite often. I don't know if I'm going to go out tonight, but I will go out and take photographs. And sometimes I get really incredible images. And every once in a while, I'll get something that I'll just knock my freaking socks off. And I don't
yeah,
see it right away. And I think I shared that with you in a. I tried printing it out. It's black. It doesn't come out anything. I was bummed. But I was like, I shared the photograph that I took, and there's no trees. It's over the garage, and you clearly saw a
yeah,
goddess. A goddess. It was the
yeah,
face of a freaking goddess. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta find that. I found it yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna try printing that puppy out. And it's just a black. It's just, because you can see the striations in
yeah,
the printer. Like maybe I just need a better printer. I don't care. It's not worth it. So the digital image that I can share with you, she's there. She is
yeah,
there. Um, and I did not see that when I took the photograph on the camera or on the phone. But when I uploaded, there she was. I was like,
yeah,
how freaking amazing is that? You have to align with this stuff. If I'm in the backyard and I'm in a lousy mood and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I go out there, I'm not necessarily going to see anything. But if
yeah.
I'm open and honest, I'll go out there and, in what, in Celsius, it's probably -10. And I'll go out there and I'll take my shoes and my little slippers and socks off. I'll stand on the it's hard frozen ground, and I'll
Oh, I
just
like
admire what's out there. I will stand out there in my coat and bare feet, and I'll just admire what is out there that we have. And let's face it, we've all manifested it. Uh, and that's the kind of stuff that shows up. It's people like her. I've had a couple of years before that a guide show up with their totems, with their pets on my on that same kind of area. I don't know what the hell is over there, but it's something that manifests in that direction. It's towards the north.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know what that means to you for the north. So this is kind of roughshod more than Oracle,
It-
but
I don't even worry about the north, south, east, west because, living where I'm at, I'm meant to apparently be in the bottom of the world, and yet we're a day ahead, so it's like, wait on, I think the map's upside down, but that's okay. So I don't really do the meanings, any of the meanings, because it's seasonal. It's seasonal to me. And when you can tell the turmoil, the species die off, and the reproductive cycles and all of this kind of kick in with the seasons. So I would rather work with the seasons than that on. So
yeah, I think the whole north, south, east, and west is a polarization. I think it does have some meaning, but it's not
okay.
something that they say a lot of them will go toward the east. I will tell you. I mean, I think you
So
probably
so where am I from you? I'm always on Westie. I've always been a Westie. So are you on the west of where you're at, your community, your country? Where are you? You're east or
the positioning of the United States is in the more or less. I mean, it depends on where you're at because it's a big piece of dirt.
yeah,
I'm considered in the Midwest. The thing
okay.
is that even if you go all the way over to the East Coast, you're still kind of midway because you got a big piece of water
Okay.
between us and even the African continent, and Europe and the Central Asia and all that. And I think as if you look at it as parallels for the latitudes, and then you hit the equator and you go to the other
Below
side
the
of
yeah.
that, you're fairly similar, but the difference is that the temperatures, the winds, the amount of land and barriers that you have, it's a lot windier there. I don't care where you're at. Freaking wind is always going, right? And I
Yeah.
laugh because I've been to Chicago many times and they call that the Windy City. Like, you can't hold a freaking candle in New Zealand. Shut up. Yeah, it's windy as all get out there. And Lake Michigan's quite large, but I guess the point is it's if you look at the latitude and longitudes of where we're at geographically as what they're telling us, 4 points of the earth, take that for what you want. What seriously, because we really don't know what we're on. I don't care what you
Yeah.
say. We really don't. I don't care if you're flat,
Oh no.
round, elliptical. I don't care. You just don't know because it's programming. So
Yeah.
let it all go, figure it out, relax. Don't crab at people because they're this, that, or the other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because everybody's finding their own way. And everybody has different frequencies. One or two will
yep,
come up and you'll have
yep,
resonate for a little while, but then you'll
yep,
move on again.
yep,
So, yeah,
yep. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we could probably kind of go into.
yeah. Well,
um,
I've got a reading for the orbs today. I wanted
yes,
to know more. I want to know more about these beings that, I've encountered because I know what I'm aware of. I know the contact that I've had, and now I'm ready to take it to another level. And I'm standing in there going, okay, so is this another position I'm stepping into without awareness? You know how they work. You know how they work. So anyway, I asked a question and I just asked the pendulum, and you know how I do my writings and my readings. So are we going to do any readings today? You up to doing a couple of readings or no?
absolutely. I guess one of the things that I have made sure that I try to do, and I try to get up early enough every morning and spend a little bit of time, kind of disconnecting of who and what I am,
Yeah,
and putting up some sort of not really a barrier per se, but something that disconnects from who and what I am for if I'm looking for an answer for something outside of myself, like this whole orb thing that I disconnect from me and that I'm looking for something that is coming from, and we had a discussion about beyond the veil, which is the original source thought and word. And that is something that even is mimicry into the ancient texts
yeah,
that can be kind of, you can follow that little, thread of information. But I guess the whole thing is that once I do lay that sort of thing down, that I'm disconnected from all of that. Maybe that's why I'm doing the clinical work that I am, because I have to have a disconnect from who and what they are. Doing that, I want to make sure that I am not influencing anything that's coming from the original source and peering back into what is going to be manifested in this reality. It's not
yeah,
about it's not about forthtelling. It's not about foretelling. It's
yeah,
about what is going to be for the highest, not even the highest good. What's going to keep us freaking safe? what's going to be to the benefit, um, and that's going to be useful.
Yeah.
What's the information? So yeah, I'm definitely, that's kind of my little thing about what's going to be useful regarding this thing that they're calling an orb, because I think we talked about the whole orb and
Yeah.
some people's interpretation of that. I'm not going to mention the name, but their idea of what is it, right? What
It
is it?
doesn't. Yeah.
Period. Card
Yeah.
drops. I don't drop
Yeah.
cards. This was a card drop.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, if it was able to break up like it did and not turn around and retaliate, and it did all of that, I mean, this has to be taken note of. It didn't retaliate, right? It just regathered itself and off it went, as far as I'm
So
aware of. If you do know more, let me know.
who was humiliated?
Oh God.
What was the clown? What was the appearance of it? So the narrative has been distorted, and one of the things that a lot is going to happen is that distortion. And what does it say? Feeling ashamed, but they're masking it because they're, look at the clowns, got all kinds of makeup and frills
Yeah.
and fluff and pomp and circumstance. So that to me says that that's what's kind of going on. They're not telling us the freaking truth.
Of course not. Of
Of
course
course
not.
not. That's like,
They never
oh,
they
gee,
never
that's
have.
not a revelation, but kind of
Yeah.
it's an affirmation of that
Yeah,
revelation.
affirmation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of like, yeah. I think that was kind of sums it up in one little freaky deaky little piece of paper.
Yeah. Okay. This is the message. I got letting go of negative people, toxic beliefs. Your time here is precious. Use it wisely, mindfully, and be respectful. Next part, physical strength and speed, untamed potential. Time, time of energy is now in the knowing. All right. And the next one is was the card for snake. Transformation, shedding of the old beliefs, change, clear intentions, and clarity moving forward. The disillusion is over. Be honest with self, and you'll be the first one to see it. So this was basically another confirmation for me to say that what I've experienced with these orbs is they are a real living entity, and they do have conscious awareness. I think from my experiences, I mean, it could just be a ploy. They could just be playing possum and going, okay, you shot at us first. We're going to prove that we're the bigger species. We're not going to shoot back. We're going to show you that you can be a better species if you want to. But right now, you're not even ready to make contact with them. You want to bloody shoot them down. You want contact. You want the world to have contact. Want everything to be open. But all the government does is constantly lie and bullshit and cover up another excuse, cover and condoning. It's not going to wash. Eventually, everything's going to be revealed. So,
Hey,
they're
hey,
running.
hey,
They're running out of time.
on that, but on that note though, I mean, this whole covering up, so is this to as a protection measure? They're kind of denying things. So, why do you think that that is? Why do you think they're denying it? Just to put a
Well,
little
as soon as
spin on it.
one denial leads to another, okay, another area that they've covered and condoned. Eventually, it's just going to go all the way back, and it's going to point to who the creator actually is of all of this mischief and bullshit that's gone on. And their role is to keep it covered and condoned by whatever means. The best puppet is the one that's always going to be at the top
So you know
on
what's
show.
funny? So what's funny is that something that popped up for me is there was a song and it's like, what the heck is that? I had that ringing in my head. And I think it's The Fix.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's one thing leads to another.
Ah,
Say what they
I,
mean what they say. One thing leads to another. I was like, why is that in my head? And it's like I played this song. This is like probably on Monday or something, and it's Friday. I was like, why is this playing in my head? I was like, oh my God, this has got to mean something. And I think I because a lot of times you goes, even if they have the lyrics on the screen when they're doing the song and everything, I gotta sit there and I gotta read through it and I gotta watch it and I gotta listen to it. And it just made a lot of sense with what you just tied into that. Why don't they? There is an ulterior motive for all of this.
oh yeah. Yeah, but I keep my options open on both sides. Yes, I've had only positive contact and communication with these beings, but that's not to say that they won't turn around and use all of that against me at a later date. I'm so used to that sort of lifestyle that I don't have 100% trust factor in anything that shows up, for whatever reason it shows up. And I think for me, that's one of my risk assessments is I make sure that I am safe. And so one of the parts of the reading that I got was fail safe, security, fail safe. And that was in the knowledge, knowing that if I see something in front of me, I'm going to logically question it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get excited. I might even get startled because they do. They just suddenly appear, you know. If you believe in yourself that you can take control of the experiences that come in. Some of them, see, this is what you've got to be ready for, is not all the experiences that I've encountered have been the most pleasant. They've been torturous, painful, screaming, took years to recover from, etc., etc. But I still did.
Mm,
Okay. I still did mentally and physically. And even if I didn't physically, it's in here. It's in here. I did the work in here. No matter what they did, no matter the damages that they do, they can't take away your truth. All
right.
right. And that is the thing that they do all of this shit for, to try to take away the truth. It's the biggest battle I see on this planet, in this space at the moment, is holding on to what is real. If we know the intent that we have as a species and a humanity, then we can start working as a community, holding that truth frequency, being able to recognize it when it actually gets a little bit distorted, and go, okay, we've got to pick up, back up, back up, back up. Weak link, weak link. We've got to sort out the problem here so we can move forward. We stopped doing this. We stepped into the lazy society where it's a disposable society. Humanity is disposable. So we need to turn around and say, no, actually, this is really awesome to have this experience here. They made it so shit for us to be here that we don't want to be here. And if we turn that around and we go, yeah, this place is absolutely gorgeous and we could make it a paradise again, there's nothing stopping us from doing that except for ourselves.
Yep.
You know, um, by putting yourself into the highest frequency, the highest for you that you want. You're looking after yourself, you're eating the right foods. We're always going to have those moments where it's just too much. You just want a breather. You just don't want to have to put up those force fields around you and stay strong 24/7. You want to bring those walls down now and then to have that breather you know, but you're always on guard. You're always on guard. So you find ways within that to go, okay, well, I'm on guard. You're on guard right now, personality number 3. I'm personality number 4 and I'm taking a nap. So you guys watch the shop. Trust in your intuition. You'll wake up. If you go, okay, I need to set my body clock. Here's a little test for you, for those that sleep with alarm clocks. Try not doing it. Okay. Try not setting an alarm, and see if you automatically wake up. Now retune yourself. You shouldn't, because you're going to have to wake up and go to work and stuff. But if you don't, you can do this experiment where you can go, okay, look at the clock before you go to bed. da 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 da. I need to be up at 6. I need to be up at 7. Whatever. Go to bed. And getting the frequency hit. Getting the frequency hit.
Yep, and you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing
Ooh,
with that too, though. You do have to train yourself to do that, and you have to be willing and open to be able to accept that, because as you just got hit with that frequency, that's a lot of what we're experiencing here in the States. Is there are these huge, and it's documented, of waves of the EMF and ELF that are coming across the. It's all east of the Mississippi. That's where the lion's share of populations are in the United States. Is that's just a frickin' unfortunate fact that we are exposed to this, and it's through these, you know, things that are really tall that are told us we're going to get better signals. Uh, Hang on. Oh, hopefully I muted that in time. I don't sneeze often, so wow, look at that, right? So one of the things that you talked about is you put up your force fields. And if you don't feel strong enough to do that, ask for help.
yeah,
Whether it's through prayer, meditation, or through a colleague, friend, family member, whatever it is that you feel that you're vulnerable about, against, however you want to put it, just ask for help. And that's a big part of being connected, and we don't want to a lot of times do that. We want to,
yeah,
you know, hey, I'll put my hand up to that. I'm not going to have to ask for anybody's help. You know, doing what I've had to do over the last many decades of having to fend for myself, irrespective of whether I had a partner or not. I always had to fend for myself because they were never there. So,
yeah,
you know, it would be great to not have to do that. But again, there's going to be that part of me that's going to say, okay, you're there, but God damn it, I'm still going to have this thing in me. Is that good, or is that hypervigilance? So that kind of messes up that trust that you might have, not just within yourself, but of other people, even of the divine outside of what we're experiencing here. We have to trust ourselves, and we have to have that. Oh my God, we're beginning to trust again.
yeah. If
And we
if
have to trust the divine. We have to trust the divine. That's, you know, it's not all fluff and benevolence. This is not,
no,
not all these beings out there, not all the orbs out there are this,
no,
you know,
they're not.
that's not what this is about. This is about leveling out with our discernment, and making sure that we're on touch with all of that.
Yeah, yeah. So, what was I going to say? You brought something up. Go back a bit. Go back a bit. What did you say? You said something.
It's about
Oh,
not putting up your force fields.
no, before that,
Oh God.
it's gone. But yeah, no, I feel like we get a bit of interference at the moment. And did write it down. Where did I write it? I wrote it
No,
down.
no, I mean,
Okay,
this is part of the amazing adventure, and we have to embrace those gifts. What, and you know what? It doesn't necessarily even have to be embracing our own gifts.
good.
It has to be embracing somebody else's gifts.
Okay, got it. It came back. Absolutely. You know what you were describing, like in the past, I would have these effects. Now, this is, there's one particular, the throne room would always, you sit there and the wall would start to ripple. And I would go, well, I know that that is a portal. I know that that's a portal opening up there. And there were different places, but that was the main area. If I was in a certain mindset at the time, I would see these portals opening up, the ripple effect starting to open up. And I always had that, oh, I want to do it. I want to put my hand through it. I know that I can. But then there'd be that one doubt bit that would come in and go, well, the wall's going to solidify, so you lose your hand. So I didn't do it. There was that little pinnacle that stopped me from having this physical experience. So I stopped, when I see the ripple now, I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. So I'm now just getting that practice in where, yeah, my fingers hit the wall, but I'm training myself to go, that wall doesn't exist. I'm just only seeing the density of the ripple, the space, the portal that's opening up. So I'm doing that physical training at the moment, because you've got to remember the brain, okay, the thought process, the brain can't tell the difference between the thought and the action. So you can program yourself by doing a repetitive pattern, seeing repetitive pictures over and over again. Then all of a sudden you're going into an automatic action. Now, just recently I had that experience. I think I shared that with you. I know I've shared it with a couple, of doing the psychic surgery. Now, I was in a Zoom group and we were doing a meditation, and I went into my vocals, and I got to a stage where, because now what I do is I create the energy space, I create the energy ball, I watch it grow, and then I take it and I put it through myself and I heal myself. Or I allow it to show me, as if I'm using a pendulum, I allow it to show me the message or the direction it wants the communication to go in. This particular time, I was doing this orb vibration, and it came in and I saw it. And then I just, all of a sudden, because I saw the rings, there was like, to start with, it looked like 2 golden rings doing this. And then on closer inspection, it was 3 rings doing this. Okay. And there was an orb inside it. And there was none of that fear. There's none of that psychological fear of, in the past, if I wanted to reach in and grab that, is that thing there, those rings going to chop my arm off?
Right.
Now, in this state, I saw it and it was like, wow, how awesome is that? It's moving so fast, it can't hurt me. So I reached straight in and I grabbed the orb and I took it out. And as soon as I took it and I was supporting it, I was transported into another space. And in this space, there was a chap who was in a humanoid male with no shirt on, couldn't see the face. I was too busy with the rest of the body. Hands were by the side and they were slightly tilted back on what looked like an invisible table. Okay, it was just a body on a slant, hands by the side, not dangling down. I knew it was a male because the anatomy had no shirt on. It was just logical. It had a belly button. I remember that.
Hmm.
And as I went close to the body with this orb, the chest cavity opened out. Was like, I didn't do anything, but I just went with the flow. Okay. The chest opened up and it showed me a very small orb of light inside, and it was covered over with black goo. And the goo, as soon as I opened it, I knew that there was this connection between the goo had recognized it had been found out. And I just automatically opened my hand up wider, and the light that I had from the orb, it recoiled. The black goo recoiled and it dissipated. So it was gone. And once I was sure that it was completely gone, I stepped back, the chest cavity closed up and it just healed like it never happened. And then I cleared around the whole body of this humanoid, and as soon as I did that, I took one more step back. As soon as I saw it started to glow, I stepped back and I found myself in the room again with those rings moving around. And I just felt it was the right thing to do. Put that all back, put it back where it came from. And then
Yeah.
I took that step back and I looked at it for a second, and then I'm hearing stone, 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 stone. And I was like, it took a housemate to get my attention. I could hear it. I was coming back, and then I realized that other people in the group were calling out as well. I had missing time. I had missing time. I
Yep.
could not hear what was going on in the chat room. Everybody's mic was on, and I could not hear what was being spoken on the exterior of me around me, and I couldn't hear the animals or anything. My whole inner self was focused on this experience while I was inside it. Now, stepping out of it, I've had time to, get my thoughts together and go, what was it that I just did? What just took place? I never got to see this person's face. Did I do it against their free will? I wouldn't do that. So what are the forces? What are the forces that led me into that and put me in those positions of doing that? I don't even know at this point. I can only say that it was psychic surgery because the stuff that I've done in the past is nothing like that. But the thing was, while I was in it, I felt like I knew exactly what I was doing, and it was automatic. I had done this before. So anyway, it's like, okay, we're going to be stepping into a new time frame, we're morphing into something more where we're allowing ourselves to do this. We're not going to be, you know, go off the path. Don't just remember your temptation. Just remember the temptation. If you have a clear intent of what you want every single day and practice it, I want to be able to get up in the morning and have no pain in my leg. I want to be able to get up in the morning and make my bed. You know, the little things, do it, practice it,
Yeah,
the discipline.
yeah,
What you were saying about take a leaf out of your book, man, these messages, they're coming in. Trust in yourself. Start trusting in your actions. So yeah, no, I can't. You were saying something about one of the living in hypervigilance. That's been my life. I've lived in hypervigilance. This is the state that I live in. And I now don't see it as an issue. I see it as a safeguard. It's proven to me, it's confirmed and proven to me time and time again that if I didn't have these, what I now call subtle awarenesses, because I can take the anxiety out of it and I can see how the anxiety creeps into it. So by being able to see that, I can still live in that safe state, hypervigilant, safe state, but without the hypervigilance because
right.
I'm
So
aware of.
it's almost like you've modified that to, like you said, you've extracted the negative energetic presentation of what it is that you're dealing with, but you
Yeah,
have the benefit of being aware. And it's kind of interesting when I think about family who have been in a lot of training for working in like police and
yeah,
sheriffs and state troopers and whatnot. They get a lot of really very very intense, and even the training that we go through for mental health, we are told by our security that even though we have some pretty hefty fellows hanging around, we still have to be on guard, so to keep ourselves safe when we get out of our vehicle and we have to walk across that parking lot and into our building. You have to be aware of who and what is around you and where. You have to be, it's the sight, sounds, smell, everything. You have to be aware of what's going on around you. That's not hypervigilance. That's just an awareness that you've increased, expanded to keep yourself safe in those environments. From a psychic standpoint, I think that's kind of even a level up for you because you have that ability to read the energies, those subtle energies that are available, and make it so that you're able to manage that stuff. But and that goes back to what you were talking about, putting up force fields. And that was just kind of a silly thing. When you were talking about, I can't say that. That was just kind of funny. I wrote it down. Maybe I'll tell you afterwards. But there was like you're talking about putting your hands through. So let me put this kind of in a little bit of a better perspective, because when you're talking about, people go, "Oh, you see that ripple in the wall," and you try, "Well, I still feel the wall." Let's look at this. So we're looking at this from a perspective of we're trying to explore and understand what it is and who it is that we are and what
yeah,
we're developing these abilities, as you put it. The thing is that if you go back, let's go back to the Bible, shall we? When Christ went into the upper room and that door was locked because they were all scared spitless because he just died and he was supposed to be their freaking savior. He goes up into that other upper room. There's like, I don't know how many of them are, I can't remember. They had that door locked because they didn't want to be hauled off and, you know, strung up by the locals. They were hiding out in this upper room. there he was. So how did he do that? And I talked to my kids about this many, many years ago, that this individual that they are calling, Yeshua, he aligned himself with the frequency of that door without losing himself.
Yeah.
And he was able to get into that room. I mean, I'm like, nobody told me that stuff. But I kind of said, well, like, how did he do that? The boys are going, "Bleh." Yeah, but we had to have that discussion. It was like, because you're going to believe this, and if this is something that's even whether it happened or not, it's still the same idea. You're experimenting with your hand going through that wall. How many times have we seen that in Hollywood?
Oh, yeah.
What's Hollywood? Look at
Yeah.
that word. That's a
Yeah.
holly from the tree, and it's the wood, and that's what the wizards would use for their divination tools. Anyway, that's a whole different program, right? But that
Yeah,
kind
I've
of
got
reminds me
some
too of
Hollywood there.
it's the Philadelphia experiment
Yes,
where
it
they're
is.
saying that people were, inside a part of the ship and whatnot. And I guess I kind of say, what was the purpose of your putting your hand through the wall? Because I mean that's like let's get to the practical point of it. There is this purpose of what is the reason for trying to transcend the physical into this esoteric or this energetic or whatever word you want to put it that's going to make sense to you. This is like what you said. It's a physical training for an energetic world that we live in. And
Yep.
it's to transcend the the veil that we've been talking about because
Yeah.
it's really a reflection and a projection of the reality that's on the other side of this, because that's where we're getting a lot of our distortions and our misalignments, and we it doesn't make sense to us. So let's not dismiss that. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as I like to say.
Yeah.
um, and I think you made a really good point of that everything that is manifesting in this world, whether it's something that you feel might be outside of this realm of reality, whatever, I don't call it a reality. I got to figure out a different word. But you talked about the goo and the goo having a consciousness. And we had a conversation even before that about some of the regressions that I did, and that the lady that I did that with, we both agreed that we had been in that same place where we were on these amazing, I can see them. I don't even know if I can come close to drawing them, but they were these bridges and they were extremely ornate. They weren't like a suspension bridge. They were across the waters and the waters were calm, but those bridges had an awareness and a consciousness. They were living just like that ship that you described. They were conscious, they were aware, and that's why I'm very respectful of everything. The cards, the pen,
Yeah.
especially like the stones, these are all part of this manifestation. We have to be respectful of all of it.
Yeah.
Ask the tree before you hug it. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Oh,
saying.
I was that tree hugger, and then one day I saw a face looking back at me, and I saw the leaves, they started to glow, and then I heard a communication, and then it was like, oh, okay, I better ask permission first. you know, and it's like, oh no, now I need to cut some firewood. Oh no, it's like, okay, how far is this OCD personality going to take me into, because I've got to turn around and go, no, I need firewood, or no, I can do it a different way. So I find different ways of doing it. It's like if the power goes out tomorrow, I'll be fine, and I think about all those people around that won't be. They maybe be able to last 3 days and then everything will go crazy. Oh, where are they going to get their next food from? The toilet's not flushing anymore. Where are they going to get their water to wipe their bums? It's like adapt,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
is it is
Yeah.
really scary because I see the herding mentality. Take them from the land, stick them into a concrete environment, stick them
Yep.
into those high-rise packaged sardine buildings. It's like it's not good for the humanity. It's not good for the psyche. It's not,
Yep.
and we got to stop this from continuing. I feel like this is what we keep doing. We keep trying to break this cycle of these chains. We have to turn around and say, no, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. I mean, I don't want to really get into too much politics about this, but are you watching what's happening in Nepal? And I don't put too much intention into this because at the end of the day, it's a script. It's a script, whether they realize they're involved in it or not. If they're in
Right,
politics, they're involved.
right. And people are heavily programmed with all of this stuff. One of the things that I'm hoping to go to in October is another one of it's called Eyes Wide Open, and it's local. And she's quite well known as a Kathy O'Brien, who is part of the Survive the MK Ultra, and she's quite open about it. But she also has to be quite stealth about what she's able to share and how she
Yeah,
presents. I mean, she's this is going to be the third time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that I'll be able to go visit her. And there's a lot of other interesting people there as well that are kind of like even though I feel like I've already heard all this stuff 2 or 3, 4 years in a row, it's important for us to be able to support those people that are coming out and really, really risking their lives and truly she is out there. She is a target
yeah.
for demise. I don't know how else to really kind of safely put it, but whatever you can do in your local area to support who and what it is that's going on, I think that's going to be like really, really kind of helpful to our own expansion. Yeah, I really look forward to that. Here I go again, overextending myself, but hey, what the heck? I'm going to take a couple days off at some point. Some point. Some point. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
hey, we've been going for a hot minute. What do you say we kind of try and wrap it up? Because I'm starting to approach that 20 hour up. I've been up for almost like it's
That
21
is,
hours at this point. So,
yeah, no, that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that.
all right.
I've
Well,
got some homework to do. So, homework,
please, and thank
housework.
you.
Yes. Anyway, okay, let's wrap it up. And everybody, thank you for coming along. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, push that like button, ding ding. Come and ask us some crazy questions. Let's see where we can go with it.
Yeah,
Thank
and don't forget the notifications button because we're kind of Johnny on the spot. I work full time, and Stone and I have a whole lot of shenanigans going on in both of our lives, and it is let's face it. Right now we are how many hours apart? It's 10:30 p.m. here Friday night.
It's Friday night. Okay, it's Saturday, 2:30 in the afternoon. So
Right. So we do a lot of work to kind of try and prep for this. Stone spent a lot of time, trying to set something up that we can multi-stream, between different platforms.
we
It's
did
just,
actually get it to work, but we couldn't see it. We couldn't see it.
yeah,
So
we're
enjoy
slowly
it
but
while you
surely.
can, because it's probably going to get taken down.
No, no, I am not allowing that. That's not going to happen. No. But yeah, just like Stone said, thanks so much for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I guess we'll see y'all on the flip side. Bye.